Britain's royal family marked what would have been the late Queen Elizabeth II's 100th birthday by unveiling comprehensive plans for a new charity and memorial in central London. Senior members of the family also attended several events on Tuesday to honour Britain's longest-serving monarch, who died nearly 4 years ago at the age of 96.
Boxers from Russia and Belarus will be free to compete with immediate effect in international competitions as neutral athletes, World Boxing says. The procedure was approved by the Executive Board of World Boxing at its most recent meeting in April 2026 and reflects the approach taken by the International Olympic Committee, IOC, said World Boxing in a statement on Tuesday.
In a Pacific conflict, the nearest US drone factory is thousands of miles away. Ships and planes carrying parts to the front lines would be vulnerable to attack. Defense startup Firestorm Labs thinks the answer is a drone factory that fits inside a shipping container. The company announced on Wednesday that it has raised $82 million in Series B funding led by Washington Harbor Partners with participation from NEA, Ondas, In-Q-Tel, Lockheed Martin, Booz Allen Ventures, Geodesic, Motley Fool Ventures and others, bringing its total funding to $153 million.
And Sri Lanka said on Tuesday that a payment of about $625,000, about 199.7 million Shin rupees, to the US Postal Service has been missing for several weeks after US officials reported that the payment had failed to arrive, reports local media. Authorities detected the incident after hackers allegedly tried to divert another payment intended for India.
A model is only as good as its data, and for Roman Teslyuk, the data wasn't coming fast enough. I hate delays. Teslyuk, founder and CEO of Earth AI, told TechCrunch. Epic Games has scored another procedural win in its fight with Apple over App Store fees, as the US Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit has now granted the Fortnite maker's latest motion. The decision means Apple must continue to allow developers to use external payments in apps without charging fees. An earlier order had let Apple temporarily pause the required App Store changes while it sought Supreme Court review. Epic Games derided Apple's move as another delay tactic and asked the court to reconsider the decision.
And Interpol has issued red notices against Malik Riaz and his son Ali Riaz as Pakistan intensifies efforts to bring the property tycoon back to face ongoing legal proceedings. The development was shared by National Accountability Bureau Chairman Nazir Ahmed during a briefing where he said a team is being dispatched to pursue the extradition of both individuals. However, the issuance of the red notices could not be independently verified through Interpol.
The Competition Commission of Pakistan, CCP, has approved the acquisition of Pakistan International Airlines Corporation Limited, PIA, by M Session PIA Equity Limited, after completing a detailed Phase-I competition review under Section 11 of the Competition Act 2010. The transaction is part of the Government of Pakistan's privatization program. M Session PIA Equity Limited is a special purpose vehicle, SPV, incorporated on January 9, 2026 by a consortium.
Hyderabad Kingsman star batter Usman Khan has opened up about the challenges he faced after being dropped from the national team, reflecting on criticism, self-doubt and the work he put in to make a return. Speaking during a recent interview on a local YouTube platform, the wicketkeeper batter discussed a difficult phase in his career when his place in the side was questioned and doubts were raised about his future.
Samsung has launched the Samsung Galaxy A37 and Samsung Galaxy A57 in Pakistan on April 28. The two mid-range phones bring upgrades in design, performance, cameras, and software support while continuing Samsung's popular Galaxy A series lineup. Both phones feature a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display with Full HD Plus resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate for smoother scrolling and gaming.
OpenSignal has released its first ever fixed broadband analysis for Pakistan, ranking internet providers based on their performance across several metrics. Nayatel emerged as the top performing provider in the report, winning multiple categories and securing the overall Best Home Internet award.
Islamabad. The Supreme Court on Wednesday affirmed that the discharge of electoral duties demanded scrupulous adherence to the law, transparency in action, and an unwavering commitment to impartiality. Any deviation from neutrality or departure from the statutory framework during the election process imperils not merely the outcome of a particular election, but the democratic Shakil itself, emphasized Justice Shakil Ahmed.
Islamabad. The federal government on Wednesday called for national consensus to shift gears from water crisis management at present to ensuring water security in view of emerging challenges, particularly the weaponization of water by India. The proposed national consensus should cover building strategic water storage, including large reservoirs, medium dams, small dams, recharge dams, delay action dams, hill torrent management, floodwater storage and urban rainwater harvesting. Planning Minister Ahsan Iqbal said at a round-table session of the newly formed Water Security Task Force in the Planning Commission.
And the Sri Lankan government took control of the island's cricket board on Wednesday and appointed a 9-member interim administration to carry out structural reforms. Sri Lanka Cricket, SLC, is the country's wealthiest sporting body, but it has been plagued by allegations of corruption and mismanagement.
United States President Donald Trump has warned Iran must get smart soon, following a proposal from Iran that would postpone a deal on Iran's nuclear program. Iran can't get their act together. Trump wrote on his Truth Social platform on Wednesday, "They don't know how to sign a non-nuclear deal. They better get smart soon."
And in the skies over the Lebanese town of Taybeh, Israel's multi-billion-dollar defense systems were rendered useless by a spool of cable, according to a report by the Israeli daily Yedioth Aharonoth, Ynet. And as an Israeli medical evacuation helicopter rushed to rescue soldiers wounded in a drone attack, another unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, hurtled towards them. With their electronic countermeasures failing, and soldiers on the ground were forced to point their rifles at the sky, firing at the incoming threat before it detonated just meters away.
A fishing boat glides across the waters of Iraq's southern marshes, sending ripples shimmering over the once parched wetlands, now revived by long-awaited rains. Running through almost the entire Huwaizar marshes, the returning water is dotted with patches of greenery, with buffaloes soaking in it or wandering slowly nearby, grazing on the lush grass.
Sri Lanka's government has taken control of the country's cricket board, saying it is a temporary measure designed to pave the way for structural reforms. All administrative functions of Sri Lanka Cricket, SLC, will be temporarily brought under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, effective today, the ministry said on Wednesday. Google Translate is now 20 years old, and to celebrate, the company has added a new feature that lets users practice their pronunciation and enunciation of words and phrases in different languages. When you translate a word, sentence or phrase, you can navigate into the Practice menu to find a Pronounce button, which shows you phonetics that you can say out loud to practice speaking the translated text. Shapes, an app where humans and AI characters chat together in shared group conversations, is emerging from stealth with $8 million in seed funding. Think Discord, but with AI characters alongside humans. Founded in 2022, Shapes has more than 400,000 monthly active users. The app's founders, Anushk Mittal and Nori Dhingra, believe that Shapes can address issues around AI psychosis, which refers to cases where prolonged interactions with AI chatbots or AI companions can cause individuals to develop delusions or paranoia.
And BMW Ventures has launched a new $300 million fund with a timely thesis: AI will reshape how the automotive industry operates. And the independent venture arm of BMW AG wants to be in the driver's seat. The fund announced on Wednesday and will invest in early stage through Series B startups in North America and Europe that are working on agentic AI and physical AI, a term that includes AI applied to robotics and autonomous vehicles, as well as industrial software and advanced materials and manufacturing and supply chain technologies. This third fund brings the firm's total capital under management to $1.1 billion.
Pakistan delivered a strong performance at the Asian Beach Games in Sanya, China, winning 2 silver medals in wrestling and a bronze medal in kabaddi, bringing the country's total medal tally to 3. International wrestlers Muhammad Inam Butt and Asad Allah reached their respective finals after impressive runs throughout the tournament, but were defeated by strong Iranian opponents, settling for silver medals.
And Capcom's highly popular Resident Evil Requiem is about to get a free minigame update soon. This new minigame is said to be a new version of Mercenaries. Though there is no official confirmation as of yet, the game has sold 7 million units in less than 2 months, making it the fastest selling title in the franchise.
The Federal Public Service Commission, FPSC, has announced fresh dates for its general recruitment tests, Phase I 2026, after the exams were postponed last week. According to a public notice issued on April 27, the tests were originally scheduled from April 25 to May 6, but have now been rescheduled from May 9 to May 20, 2026.
US President Donald Trump and his administration has introduced new screening rules for non-immigrant visa applicants, requiring them to confirm during interviews that they do not fear returning to their home country under the update policy. Applicants who say they have suffered harm in their country or express fear about going back may be denied a temporary US visa. Refusing to answer the questions could also lead to rejection.
And Sarfaraz Ahmed has responded to criticism following his appointment as head coach of Pakistan's men's test team, saying he remains focused on making the most of the opportunity. Speaking to the media on the sidelines of the team's training camp ahead of the Bangladesh series, Sarfaraz said external opinions do not affect him.
Bangladesh recorded 227 child deaths since March in one of its worst outbreaks of measles in decades. With the number of suspected cases reaching nearly 35,000, government data showed on Wednesday one of the hardest hit areas is Kurukpata in the Chittagong Hill Tracts, home to indigenous communities which border war-torn Myanmar.
European airlines are facing their biggest challenge since the COVID-19 pandemic, as the US-Israel war on Iran pushes up jet fuel prices and buffets travel through the Middle East, casting a shadow over the summer holiday season. Carriers have been largely riding out the crisis with hedges that have tamed costs, even as the price of jet fuel has risen nearly 84% since the start of the conflict on February 28, but they could face shortages if the war does not end soon. Islamabad. The Islamabad High Court, IHC, on Wednesday fixed appeals filed by former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his spouse Bushra Bibi against conviction in the £190 million corruption reference for tomorrow, April 30. According to the supplementary cause list issued by the Registrar's Office, a division bench comprising Chief Justice Sardar Mohammad Sarfraz Dogar and Justice Mohammad Asif will take up Karel. Appeal 63-2025 filed by Imran and Siral. Appeal 64-2025 filed by Bushra on Thursday.
And The Irish government has announced further fuel supports for some workers and businesses. After nationwide protests in recent weeks, Irish government ministers are insisting the package of supports was being worked on by the government before the protests, which saw many major motorways as well as the main street in the nation's capital brought to effective standstill.